A New York City school chancellor has decided to retire merely weeks after being raided, but is acting like he was already on his way to retirement. Check it out.
Good evening to you. I'm Christine Johnson. Tonight, we begin with some breaking news. David Banks, the head of the largest school system in the country, will retire at the end of the year. This announcement comes not even 3 weeks after federal...
Let me say this, Jeremy. I see you in the chat, big dog. I see you. But rich is a mindset. It's a spirit. The money is going to come anyway. When I say my rich friends, I like to just put that label in order to acknowledge a certain group of people that donate or whatever. You know, we like to separate it in order to make sure that people are acknowledged because, you know, you don't have to. And so when you give out of your heart, even though I don't ask for it, I want to acknowledge that. But rich is a spiritual thing. It's a mindset. To be successful is a mindset. You could not have resources and have money, and that could just be circumstantial based off of whatever is going on at the time. But the money is going to come anyway because of your work ethic and your consistency and your dedication and the reason that you're doing it and you're doing it the right way. So when I say my rich friends, it's a mindset first, and then it translates over into the results. So understand that. Let's continue.
Agents raided his home as part of a broader investigation into members of Mayor Adams' inner circle. Political reporter Marcia Kramer has details on the message from the chancellor to the mayor.
Mayor Adams leaving City Hall today, having just received a letter from Schools Chancellor David Banks confirming his decision to retire at the end of the year. I am writing to humbly inform you of my decision to retire as Chancellor of New York City Public Schools, Banks said, reminding the mayor that the decision to leave the nation's largest school system was made well before federal agents raided his Harlem home, confiscating his phones and those belonging to his partner, First Deputy Mayor Sheena Wright. During our meeting earlier this year, I advised you that I intended to retire at the end of this calendar year after ensuring the school year got off to a good start. I have decided to retire effective December 31st, 2024, after dedicating nearly 40 years of service to New York City's public schools. I am incredibly proud of what we have accomplished during my tenure. During a recent appearance on The Point, Banks talked about the raid, explaining what he would tell parents, teachers, and students.
In life, you may have challenges, but always hold your head high, live your life, and walk with integrity. I've always done that, and I would encourage all of our kids, all of our teachers, and anyone else to do the same.
Banks is just the latest member of the administration to pack it in. Health Commissioner Ashwin Vasan and Counsel Lisa Zornberg have also recently announced their departures. I asked the mayor today how he would fill all the posts.
City government is a deep bench, and we have a reservoir of talent in this city. We're not going to have a problem filling any of these positions. People want to be in city government.
Now, within the last few minutes, we got video of David Banks returning to his home in Hamilton Heights. Late today, Mayor Adams said he was immensely grateful and proud of the things Banks accomplished, from helping the schools come out of the pandemic to welcoming thousands of migrant children.
Did you see what his accomplishments were? I'm going to play it for y'all because some of y'all may not have been paying attention. I'm going to play it for you again, what some of his accomplishments were. Check it out.
He said he was immensely grateful and proud of the things Banks accomplished, from helping the schools come out of the pandemic to welcoming thousands of migrant children.
One of his accomplishments, let's set aside the FBI raid for a second, because we got a theme that we're going to hit on today. And a lot of it is going to be based around looking at all sides of the migrant crisis, from the Haitians' pushback to other small towns that are concerned about migrants taking over their cities. Because I want to have a holistic conversation. I want to look at it from all sides, not just one side. One of his accomplishments was welcoming thousands and thousands and thousands of migrant children into the New York City school system that you guys pay for with your tax dollars.
Math and reading scores and graduation rates also improved under David Banks' leadership, the mayor said. Christine?
All right, so you mentioned that Banks is just the latest in several resignations, but let's move over to the police department.
Sure.
The interim commissioner, his homes, plural, were raided. What is the latest there?
Well, what we've heard from NYPD sources is that he is now hired an attorney, and that the
Don K?
documents that were seized from when he was a Homeland Security expert in the state and federal government about 20 years ago. They were classified documents, and the Fed seized them.
I think that NYC is corrupt, like most blue cities. But in addition to that, parents, speaking of what's going on in New York, parents are absolutely outraged of the level of prostitution that is happening around 3 schools in New York City. Check it out.
And new at 5, a fight over sex workers in brothels operating just steps away from schools in Queens. Parents tell us they're fed up and they're taking their outrage to a hearing being held tonight. Even though police made some arrests last week, some say the area surrounding 3 elementary schools in Jackson Heights and Corona looks more like a red light district these days than a place for children. Here's Eyewitness News reporter Janice Yu.
There are more brothels than there are bodegas in this community.
There are growing concerns over alleged prostitution in this Corona, Queens neighborhood. Former New York City Councilman Hiram Montserrat says the solicitation is blatant, often happening in broad daylight.
We have an active 24-hour brothel across the street from 2 elementary schools. Our kids are seeing this. This is not acceptable.
Nellie Rodriguez's grandson attends PS 19 at Roosevelt Avenue and 99th, and there are 2 other schools nearby. She says her grandson and her teenage kids have to walk by women soliciting outside of stores.
You literally have to shield their eyes because the open urination is just impossible. And to explain to my little grandson why there's women here shaking and, doing all of that stuff.
Just last week, the NYPD raided a storefront near Roosevelt Avenue and K Street that was allegedly being used as a brothel, just half a mile from PS 19. 3 people were arrested for prostitution charges. Cops stood along Roosevelt Avenue Tuesday afternoon, but Montserrat and Rodriguez say much more needs to be done.
And we are calling upon all the authorities to use their resources and ensure that we have more police protection and that there's more enforcement around the Roosevelt Avenue corridor in this part of Queens.
It's not fair to our kids. I want my grandson to be a kid again, to be able to enjoy it like I did.
There's a Community Education Council meeting happening today at 6 o'clock to talk about increased security at schools in light of everything that's been going on. And there's a rally planned on Sunday afternoon as well. People in this community will be getting together and calling on elected leaders to make changes in this neighborhood.
There's no reason why your children should have to walk down the street past a brothel and what is supposed to be the basic capital of the United States of America. Like, New York City is the unofficial, official capital of the United States of America. As New York goes, as Los Angeles goes, really more New York, because New York is the financial hub of everything that's happening. More billionaires and millionaires in New York than anywhere else. And you telling me that the kids can't walk down the street without worrying about running into a brothel or seeing some naked person that's walking down the street, or some man that's zipping up his pants as he's coming out of the massage parlor in an open market? Okay. And then last but not least, a police informant or police informants was found dead in Indiana in a river after being shot, stabbed, and strangled. Check it out.
Indiana Task Force 1 has been activated by FEMA to respond as a search and rescue team to Florida. Consists of 80 people and in support of FEMA Region 4 ahead of the potential tropical storm Helene you just heard Tyler talking about. That storm is expected to become a tropical cyclone this week. Of course, we'll keep tabs on Task Force 1.
Court documents claim 2 police informants were killed last week by a man police say is a local drug dealer. It all started last Friday when 2 bodies were found in a river in Fort Wayne. Fox 59's Eric Graves breaks down these court documents and their connections to a drug investigation in Richmond. Eric?
Court documents say a Richmond Police Department informant was picked up at this apartment complex just a day before his body was found in a Fort Wayne river.
Shout out to
Fort Wayne
Peter
police say
Investor.
last
Shout out to
Friday,
everybody that's
volunteers
just
cleaning
getting
up
into
the
the
St.
chat.
Mary's River found 2 bodies inside of trash bags. The coroner identified the 2 people as Matthew Johnson and Christina Dixon, both reported missing out of Richmond earlier that week. Johnson was shot and stabbed, and Christina had been strangled. Court documents detail how multiple witnesses and the Richmond police helped connect this man, Dominique Washington, to the 2 victims. Richmond PD told Fort Wayne detectives Johnson and Dixon were both police informants in an investigation that led to a drug raid 2 weeks ago at a Richmond home where multiple narcotics were found. Court docs say Richmond police told detectives Dominique Washington went by Nico and was a known drug dealer with a connection to the raided house. Police used surveillance video and witness accounts to place Washington picking up Johnson at the Genesis apartment complex and then picking up Dixon from a Richmond home on Thursday. Monday night, Washington was arrested during a traffic stop as he tried to leave this home on Campbell Ave. Washington is now being held without bond, charged with murder and kidnapping in the deaths of both Johnson and Dixon.
He killed them both at the same time. He shot one and strangled the other one. Listen, I don't even want to be involved in these type of lives. It's just too stressful. It's just too stressful. I can't be associated with criminal behavior. It's just not worth it. I like being able to go to sleep at night knowing that I'm going to wake up and I ain't got to worry about my freedom being taken away from me or me being killed and dragged inside of a river.